our search for more bands, we came across a friendly bunch named AsuKaTendeng Family, which told us they had a place to record.
We're still in Ziguinchor, and today we're going to record a band in there. This is an old bar, or rather venue, that they use as their rehearsal spot. We thought it was a good idea. They proposed the place, and we thought it was a good idea because they already know the place, they're familiar with it, and all their instruments are there. They have a bit of equipment laying around. So we're going to check it out and see if we can use that to our advantage.
Now, I know what you must be asking by now. Yes, it's my real beer, all 3 weeks worth of it. But I digress. Entering the place, we were greeted by the tech which showed us what equipment could be used, starting with the pièce de résistance, this mystery mixing board cleverly branded Mixer.
La marque Mixer.
It wasn't exactly of the usable type, if you know what I mean. So we were proposed an alternative.
No Behringer.
Since we weren't that desperate, we decided to go back to our old friend, a Mixer, and try to fix her, with the help of some cables and hope. But there was no such thing. This most exquisite spring reverb caught my eye for its stereo connections and integrated pyrotechnics. We also found this Japanese beauty from the era of shoulder pads, as well as a plethora of interesting instruments which clearly had a more decorative vocation than anything else. Oh, and 3 microphones. Sure. So Simon proceeded to the obligatory patch plan, and then it was time to set the stage.
Yeah.
But while setting up the drum, Simon found that there might be a little hiccup.
Oh boy. We got a problem.
So here's another great opportunity that I have to convey the importance of bringing a bunch of tools.
The tool, my friend.
But that is all in theory, of course. In reality, we needed a new snare, so we sent someone to find a proper one and proceeded to try and do our best with the rest. It took a lot of toilet paper and tape, but also a fair bit of bravery. Because did I mention the roof, or rather the lack thereof?
So today there's a bit of construction work happening right outside. It's going to be a change from the goats and the donkeys and the prayer calls.
But that certainly did not stop us from hoping some more and set up this wicked pair of clarions as room mics. And yes, you are correct. One of them is held by a maverick lamp. The rest of the setup was pretty simple. 421 on the guitar and 57 on the calabash, a DI for the bass, and Atlantis on the perks. The other one went on a drum setup that would make George Martin proud. Overhead, snare, kick. As Simon and I were doing some sound checks, the young musicians from AsuKaTendeng Family set up and got ready to record their first ever single. The only problem we ran into during the sound checks was with this bass amp from an undisclosed manufacturer. So I once again dug into my magic toolbox and picked up an impedance transformer in order to turn a stage monitor into a proper bass boomer. After the sound checks, Simon gathered everyone for a little briefing on how the recording would take place, which we were just about to begin when we were explained that there might not be enough room on the stage for the dancer. Yes, you heard right, the dancer, a very important element to any sound recording. So as servants of the art, we had no other choice but to clean up our setup a little bit. Setup which at this point might seem a little underwhelming, but believe me, what these kids lack in gear, they make up in talent. And this is exactly why we were so happy to be there.
Yeah. C'est cool ça. C'est bon? Ok, alors on va garder celle-là, ok? Je pense que c'est la meilleure. Ok. Wow! Ok. Oh oui. Ça va être chaud. Bravo. Très cool.
Tout est sorti.
Oui, on a tout.
Et toi aussi,
Viens ici. Yeah.
Obviously, we re-recorded all the vocals through a microphone that is not this guy. As well as the back vocals. The last of the back vocals were recorded just as the sun was setting and the pigeons feeding on the roof. Now kids, gather around. Uncle Greg is going to tell you a story. It was the night after the recording, and AsuKaTendeng had invited us to their performance at the city fair, which was delayed a fair bit because of a technical problem. Mainly, they were missing a couple of XLR cables. Thankfully, Simon had some in his bag and saved the day. In the end, it was a great show, and as they say in show business, even if a problem arises, the show must go on. But here, the show might go on. At least, if the stage doesn't collapse.
Merci. Simon. Merci encore.
Check out the link in the video description to download some bonus material.